May 3rd, 2011. We here it on the spot. We got my co-host and on-field correspondent, Nida Khan, is here.
How are you doing, Norm?
Thank you. She's from Pakistan. We're angry. Huh?
From here, by way, my family is from Pakistan. Just want to clarify, Pakistani-American, because I was raised here, didn't live anywhere else, but family is from there, so.
Give them your background, where our people need to know you got credentials and why they not calling.
Well, all right, let's just delve into this whole thing, first of all. Like, the biggest story now has been turned into Pakistan and the U.S. and the relationship between the two countries. But people don't realize that it's a very complicated and complex situation, and there's a lot of politics involved. Because even though Pakistan itself, the official statement may be, or officials may come out and say, where we helped the U.S., but we did not directly kill him, because you got to realize that if they come out and say we directly helped the United States and took out this man, there are certain factions of people that still look up to him. Like you have Al-Qaeda, you have the Taliban. They still look up to him as leader, and there's a lot of anti-U.S. sentiment throughout because of the Predator drones that we drop and kill innocent civilians. So you have this like anti-Western sentiment. So if you're a Pakistani official and you come out and say, we directly help the United States, you're going to have a civil war in the country. So you can't just openly come out there and say we did this. I mean, it would just be insane. But that doesn't mean that they did not help behind the scenes.
Okay. So now, what do you say? It's been 2 days now. All journalists haven't slept since this thing has went down. Everybody's up late up late at nighttime and back out early in the morning. Let's start from the top. When you heard about it,
so, okay, I actually have some sources, some other reporters and producers that I know in the field, and they hit me, and some folks from the State Department hit me. So I actually tweeted about this 10 minutes before even CNN or anybody else went with it. I was like, oh, you got to check this out. Bin Laden is dead. And a bunch of people retweeted it. And it was just crazy. Like everybody, it was about, I think, 10 o'clock when we found out that the president was going to make a statement. But we didn't know the context of it. We had no idea. We just knew that it was a national security issue. And then he was supposed to speak at 10:30. It got pushed back to 10:45, then 11 o'clock. And then I believe it was 11:30 when he finally did speak and come out and say this. And from there, it was nonstop. Because, this is a Sunday night, so you have people kind of winding down, even papers so the next day are set. But then you have this major story. So it's like you got to go out in the field. I know you went at like 2 in the morning and went to Ground Zero and got all this great footage. And
my adrenaline was pumping. I'm getting out. I got out of work. I started out with Kiss FM listening to the Weekend Review. Something said turn to the news. And I'm shaking because I thought they was going to talk about Gaddafi. And when I heard this Bin Laden, got to get to the studio, and I'm calling. I had to pull over the side. I was on the phone and frantic. Let's get somebody. I called you. Waiting for you to call back. Never call me back. I know you know. And then we all over the place. Yeah. Let's get out here. So you got the call, you verified it. I called you one time and you was on the phone with the State Department. Yeah. Everybody.
I actually went, the White House did a conference call with reporters and the media after the president spoke. So that was, it's interesting because whenever there's a White House press call, you probably have to hold about 5 or 10 minutes and that's it. But on this day, I literally, Norm, I was on hold for 47 minutes. And it was like 15 minutes before they even got to me to take my information, my affiliation. And then we were all on hold for like 47 minutes. And then they delved into all the details about how there was 12 to 18 foot high walls around the compound, barbed wire. There were multiple families living there, no internet, no telephone service. They're burning their trash. They went into all the details pretty much that you see coming out now. So we're up until, and it was funny because even the senior administration officials were like, all right, it's past midnight, we're not taking any more questions. They took like maybe 5 questions, and then they're like, all right, we're going to bed, we got to go. And they literally just hung up the phone on all of us, which was crazy because that's never happened before. I mean, even they were burning the midnight hour and beyond,
So now, relationships with Pakistan, America's relationship with Pakistan, based on the ever-changing, this is changing every day, the money that's being given, what is it, like $1.5 billion a year? And now they've side talk and rumors and innuendos of Pakistan didn't help, and Bin Laden was down the block from the military base.
See, that goes back to how I started off with this. It's interesting because if you pay attention, when Obama made this statement on Sunday night, he said, I want to stress the fact that Pakistan has been a great source of help to us in rooting out terrorism and in assisting in this. And even when the press secretary and officials are pressed on this issue, they kind of dance around it and say, we're looking into it, we're further investigating, we're seeing exactly how much help they did give us, but they don't give a direct response either way. It's other people who are using this issue to kind of push their own agenda. Like you have Senator Lautenberg from Jersey who came out and said, we should stop all aid to Pakistan. And you have other congressmen and other folks and even pundits on the news who are using this to drum up their own dialogue. But when it comes to an official response from the White House, they have not said definitively that Pakistan was hiding this, that they did not assist. And honestly, Norm, there's no way that you can go into a sovereign country and do something like this without help. Like, it's just not possible. Because imagine if there were choppers coming in and we didn't know about it. I mean, seriously, we would have shot them down. And it goes the same way. Like, if there were choppers going into Pakistan like that, they would have been shot down, especially if you're right by where the military base is, they would have been shot down. You can't just go into a sovereign nation like that and do that.
Well, you can't really go no place. If it's not my chopper, you're invading me, you're going to get it. Right. You're going to get it. Someone had to know something, and the story's going to change every day. Yep. So now, what is your sources telling you that's getting ready to happen within the next day or two?
So honestly, everything is still kind of up in the air. Like, details are slowly trickling in, but the White House is obviously, and understandably controlling the messaging and being very careful with what they release, because you also don't want to create some sort of extreme backlash, by people and preying on their emotions, because they could, if you do release this picture too, if it's really outrageous, like it might, you could have some radical folks who utilize it for their own agenda and start recruiting more people. So it's a very complex, convoluted, and just difficult situation all around. That's why I just tell people, it's good, pay attention to everything, read everything, watch everything as much as you can, but take it all with a grain of salt and don't believe everything at face value. Okay, well, they're debating everything from how many shots. First call was 2 shots to the head, next one to the head, 1 to the body. And even that is, is changing, because initially they said that his wife, Bin Laden's wife, was killed. Now they're saying she was shot in the leg, the youngest wife. So even they themselves are still gathering information. When I say they, I mean, the administration and our government and whatnot. So it's like we don't exactly know what happened yet. We know a little bit, but it's still playing out. Afghanistan. Do we get out? Well, that would be nice, but I don't see that in the immediate foreseeable future, but hopefully within, I would say, maybe by 3 years. That's my guesstimate. Why are we still there? I mean, we have somewhat toppled the Taliban. Right. They're down to, about 100 members? Right, exactly. 100 members, yeah, 2 members, right? And now, and we got Bin Laden. Yeah. What are we here for? Well, they're saying there's still recruiting, and there's still Al-Qaeda is still present. It's not just, even though you took out the head leader, you still have the rest of the members, and they're still recruiting, and you still have acts of terrorism and potential acts of terrorism, so you need to be in there. So, we'll see. But we're spending too much money here. We're out there. We're spending. Their gross national product was what, 10 billion at one time when we went in there. It's down to, I don't even remember the exact figure. It's horrible. It's horrendous what their GDP is. But their GDP is one thing, and we're spending 5 times as much and more than that in just being in there. Yep. So all these people who just run around saying we need to cut the budget, all the Republicans and all the GOP folks who run around saying, and not talking about the military budget, fiscally conservative, right? Exactly, because if you eliminated or cut down defense spending, problem solved right there. Our entire budget crisis will be taken care of without a doubt. Yeah. But they're not. Defense is not part of it, because you have contractors out here. You have just as many contractors in Afghanistan, which some of these people have ties to, that's never talked about. There's actually more contractors than Army personnel in Iraq. Yes. Yeah. And at one time, even when Iraq had 100,000 military soldiers out there, we still had 100,000 contractors out there. We have over 100,000 contractors out there. So this war is about money, and somewhere along the line, we're going to have to
wing that money in, and let's look at it and get a little investigation on which elected officials, family members are working, are benefiting from this war going on. But we're going to be right back. We're going to pay the bills here. A little brief message from the sponsors, and we're going to come right back. Segment number 2.